All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're tackling one of the most mind-blowing ideas to ever come out of physics. The theory that your past, your present, and your future all exist right now simultaneously. It's called the block universe, and we're going to explore it through the lens of AI innovator Abhijeet Sarkar, who says this isn't just some weird theory, it's a tool that could literally change your life. So let me ask you something. Do you ever find yourself just replaying things from the past, wishing you'd done something different? Or maybe you get that knot in your stomach worrying about what's coming next. Of course you do. We all do. It feels completely normal. But what if I told you that the very foundation of how we experience time, the thing that creates regret and anxiety in the first place, is totally, fundamentally wrong? And this is where Sarkar comes in. He argues that our common sense view of time isn't just a little off. It's a psychological prison, a cage we build for ourselves. This belief that the past is gone forever and the future is a total mystery, it keeps us trapped, agonizing over what was and terrified of what might be. To break free, we first have to see the bars. So let's start taking this prison apart piece by piece. Because before we can really wrap our heads around the block universe, we have to completely demolish our intuitive and, as we'll see, deeply flawed idea of what time even is. This is the idea we all grow up with. In philosophy, it's called presentism. And it feels right, doesn't it? I mean, obviously, the past is just a memory and the future is just potential. The only thing that's actually real is this one single fleeting moment of now. But Sarkar argues this is a powerful cognitive illusion, and a pretty damaging one at that. And here's where we can see the huge difference between what we feel and what physics says is real. We all have this feeling of time flowing, right? Like a river carrying us along. But here's the problem. That feeling has zero basis in physics. Think about it. If you ask, how fast is time flowing? The only possible answer is 1 second per second, which is completely meaningless. What is real is something called the arrow of time. That's just the fact that things go from order to chaos, thanks to entropy. You know, eggs break, but they don't unbreak. We've just mistaken our feeling of that one-way street for a literal river that's flowing. Now, you might be thinking, okay, this is some interesting philosophy. But it's not. This is physics. And over 100 years ago, Albert Einstein himself delivered a knockout blow to our cherished idea of a single, universal now for everybody. Okay, hang with me here. This is Einstein's famous thought experiment, and it's brilliant. Imagine a guy standing on a train platform. Another guy is in the middle of a train speeding past. Right as the train guy passes the platform guy, 2 lightning bolts hit the very front and the very back of the train. For the guy on the platform, they happened at the exact same time. It's one now. But for the guy on the train, things are different. He's moving towards the light from the front lightning bolt, so that light reaches him a split second sooner than the light from the back. From his point of view, the front strike happened first. So the devastating question is, who is right? And Einstein's revolutionary, world-changing answer was, they both are. There is no single master clock for the universe. Your now is not my now. And if that's true, well, the consequence is just staggering. If your now and my now are just 2 different, equally valid slices of reality, then to be logically consistent, you have to accept that all the slices, everything we call the past, the present, and the future, must be equally real. They all just exist. This conclusion forces us into a totally new way of seeing reality. One where time isn't some river we're floating down, but a vast landscape that we already exist inside of. So get ready, and welcome to the block universe. In this model, time is simply the 4th dimension. It's just as real and just as fixed as the 3 dimensions of space: length, width, and height. The entire history of the universe isn't happening, it just is. The whole thing, from the Big Bang to the final whimper, exists as one giant, unchanging 4-dimensional block. Every single event that has ever happened or ever will happen has its own permanent, fixed coordinate inside it. And here's the part that'll really bake your noodle. What does this mean for you? It means you aren't just one single point moving through time. No, you are a complete, 4-dimensional object, a world line, kind of like a statue that stretches from the moment of your birth to the moment of your death. That 10-year-old version of you, they're not gone. They exist permanently at a different coordinate in space-time, just as real as the you who's listening to this right now. Okay, I know what you're probably thinking right now. If all of this is true, it brings up a huge and, let's be honest, kind of terrifying question about free will and our destiny. Yeah, there's really no getting around it. This is the unavoidable conclusion. If the future isn't some unwritten void but is already part of this static block of spacetime, then everything you will ever do, every thought you will ever have, every feeling you will ever feel is already set in stone. Your destiny is already written. But wait, before you totally despair, Sarkar makes an absolutely critical distinction here. This is not fatalism. Fatalism is the idea that you're just a puppet on a string and your choices don't matter at all. This is determinism. And in this view, your choices are maybe the most important things in the universe. They aren't meaningless, they are the very gears of destiny. They are the causal links that forge the future. The outcome is fixed because of the choices you are destined to make. So, how in the world do we define a choice in the system? Well, Sarkar, with his background in artificial intelligence, sees it as a physical, computational process. Your brain takes in a ton of data, all your memories, your current environment, your biology, and it runs a calculation to produce an output, an action. The choice isn't some magical ghost pulling levers outside of physics. It is the physical process of your brain doing its thing. So, what we're doing is replacing that old kind of mystical idea of a ghost in the machine with a modern scientific one. The feeling of free will, that sensation of weighing your options and making a decision, that's not an illusion. According to Sarkar, that feeling is the experience of your brain performing its incredibly complex computation. You're not the ghost making the choice, you are the physical process of the choice itself. Now, I get it. All this determinism might sound cold, maybe even terrifying, but here comes the final brilliant twist in Sarkar's whole argument. Fully accepting this reality isn't a prison sentence. It's actually the key to profound psychological freedom. Just think about regret for a second. If your past is a fixed, unchangeable location in space-time, then feeling regret over it is as illogical as regretting that Mount Everest is in the Himalayas. It just is. You can't change it. All you can do is understand it was the necessary step that created the you that exists in this very moment. And the same exact logic just demolishes anxiety about the future. If the future already exists, then being anxious about some scary, unknown void is totally pointless. The future isn't a void to be feared. It's a destination you're headed to. The only logical thing to do is to act with purpose right now, knowing that your choices are the very engine creating that unchangeable future. And this all leads us to this incredible, ancient Stoic idea called amor fati, which means to love one's fate. Sarkar argues that the block universe gives us a real physical foundation for this philosophy. Because every single moment of your life, the amazing triumphs and the heartbreaking tragedies, is part of a single, eternal whole, you can't just pick and choose the good parts. It's a package deal. To truly love any part of your story, you have to embrace and love all of it. So, I'll just leave you with this to chew on. In our old way of thinking, moments are precious because they're fleeting, because they disappear. But in the block universe, this moment, right now as you're listening to this, it is in a puff of smoke. It's an eternal, indestructible part of the fabric of the cosmos. It will always exist. And if that's true, how does that change the meaning of everything you do from this point on?